My beloved child, I know that at this very hour your room may be very quiet. So quiet that you can hear the clock moving forward, hear your own sighs, and even hear the things you have tried to hide in the middle of a day filled with voices. And it is precisely in that silence that I want you to hear a word you may have been waiting a very long time to hear. I am proud of you. Give me just 1 minute. My beloved child, do not rush to pick up your phone to fill the emptiness. Do not hurry back toward the unfinished work. Do not be quick to blame yourself for not being strong enough. I am here, in your room, not only beneath the roof that shelters your head, not only in the corner where the light is still glowing or beside the window that is closing, but closer to your heart than even the beat within your chest. I see you when you sit silently on your bed, when you look up at the ceiling and wonder whether tomorrow will be better. I see you when you try to smile in front of everyone, yet when night falls, your heart feels exhausted. I see you when you think no one truly understands what you are carrying. But, my child, I understand. I have always understood. My word once said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. And today, I repeat that promise, not as a distant line of text, but as the hand of a father resting gently upon your shoulder. There are days when you look at your life and see only the things left unfinished. You remember the plans that fell apart, the promises not yet fulfilled, the doors that closed, the opportunities that slipped through your fingers like water. You watch others move faster, have better jobs, warmer families, more stable finance, and seem more at peace. And then you ask me, Father, what did I do wrong? Why am I still standing here? But my beloved child, I do not measure you by what you have achieved. I do not look at you with the cold eyes of the world, where a person's worth is weighed by the money they earn, the title they hold, the house they live in, or the number of people who applaud them. I look at the times you still tried to live kindly, even while your own heart was hurting. I look at the mornings you still got up, even though you cried the night before. I look at the moments when you chose not to wound others, even though you yourself were carrying wounds. I look at the money you earned through honest sweat, at the meals you tried to prepare for your family, at the clumsy prayers you whispered when you no longer knew what to say. And I am proud of you, not because you have become perfect, but because amid so many things that could have made you give up, there is still a part of your heart that wants to believe, wants to live, wants to love, and wants to keep going. Do not think that I only draw near to you when you are strong. No, I often enter your room most clearly when you are so weary that you no longer know whom to lean on. Just as Elijah once sat beneath the broom tree and asked to die because he was utterly exhausted. You too may have had days when you only wanted to disappear from every pressure, every phone call, every demand, and every inner voice that kept telling you that you were not good enough. But I did not rebuke Elijah when he lost heart. I did not stand far away and tell him to try harder. I sent an angel to him, gave him rest, gave him bread and water, then gently said, Arise and eat, for the journey is too great for you. Do you see? Sometimes what you need first is not a miracle that changes everything overnight. Sometimes what you need is a deep sleep, a nourishing meal, a glass of water, a pause without guilt. I do not see your tiredness as weakness. I know your body was formed from dust, with limits, with days when it needs rest. So do not hate yourself simply because you cannot keep holding yourself together forever. Let me care for both your soul and your body. For you are a precious creation in my hands. And when you open your eyes in the morning, even if that room is still the same, even if the work remains unfinished, even if the bill still has to be paid, I want you to know that dawn is never a small thing. Every time light touches your curtains, It is a reminder that I have not closed the story of your life. Perhaps yesterday you failed. Perhaps you said words you should not have said. Perhaps you allowed fear to make you miss something good. But my mercy did not run out with yesterday. His mercies are new every morning. And because of that, you are not nailed forever to the worst version of yourself. You are allowed to begin again. You are allowed to apologize. You are allowed to change. You are allowed to learn how to do better without torturing yourself. The world may remember your mistakes forever, may bring up the days when you fell, may look at you through an old crack, but I look at you the way a potter looks at a vessel still being shaped in his hands. Though the clay may be uneven, though the form is not yet perfect, I have not taken my hands off you. Perhaps you are worried about money, about bills you do not know how to manage, about a family that needs you, about debts that keep you awake, about work that may no longer feel secure. I know those worries are not just passing thoughts. They can press heavily upon your chest at midnight, making you look at your account and see the future as a fog-covered road. But my beloved child, do not let lack make you forget that I am the one who feeds the birds of the air and clothes the lilies of the field. That does not mean you will not need to work, or plan, or learn to manage what I have entrusted to you. On the contrary, I want you to live wisely, diligently, and faithfully in every small thing. But I do not want you to turn money into the god of your heart. Money may be a tool, but it must not become a chain. Do not think you are worthless just because you do not have much right now. Do not think you cannot lift your head just because you are starting again from something small. The little seeds you sow with honesty, with hard-working hands, with gratitude and discipline, will one day sprout. I can open a way in ways you have never imagined. What I ask of you is not panic, but one small step of faith, and then another. In the midst of these burdens of daily provision, I also see the wounds you cannot put into words. Someone disappointed you. Someone you loved did not stay. There were words that seemed careless, yet they remained in your heart for many years. Perhaps you still remember the cold eyes of a loved one, the silence of a friend, or the feeling of being abandoned at the very moment you most needed to be held. You tried to appear fine, but on some nights, memories return like a cold wind slipping through the crack of a door. I am not telling you to forget immediately, nor am I forcing you to pretend that you are not in pain. I only want you to place that wound into my hands, because if you keep holding it inside forever, it will slowly become a wall that prevents you from receiving the love I am still sending to you. Forgiveness does not mean saying that what they did to you was right. Forgiveness is the decision not to let their darkness continue controlling your heart. When you forgive, you are not rewarding the person who hurt you. You are opening the door so you yourself can breathe. I know this takes time, so do not rush. Let me walk with you through every deep layer of pain, until your heart can become a little lighter. Perhaps in this room, you are missing someone you can no longer meet again. An empty chair, an old object, a familiar song, or a passing scent may be enough to bring tears to your eyes. I know there are losses that cannot be erased by a few comforting words. There are empty spaces in a family that make you feel lonely even when you are surrounded by many people. But my child, true love does not disappear simply because someone is no longer beside you in the way they once were. Beautiful memories remain seeds of grace. The lessons they left behind can still bloom in the way you live today. Do not be afraid to cry. Tears do not make your faith weak. Even Jesus wept before the tomb of Lazarus. He knew that grief is deeply human, deeply real, and deeply profound. But after the tears, he still called life back again. I too can bring life to the places in your heart that seem to have died. Perhaps I will not return everything in the form you desired, but I can transform the love that once caused you pain into compassion, into maturity, into a light that helps you understand and embrace others who are grieving as you are. Look around your room once more. Perhaps you see it as small, simple, not yet as beautiful as you wish. Perhaps it is a rented room, a temporary place, a corner of a house where you have never truly felt that you belonged. But I want to tell you that where I am present, that space is no longer ordinary. When Jacob slept in the wilderness, with his head resting on a stone, he did not think it was a holy place. But when he awoke, he realized, surely the Lord is in this place. And I did not know it. The same is true for you. There are days when you think you are in a meaningless place, a temporary season, a stretch of life no one sees. But I can still meet you there. I meet you in the kitchen where you cook a simple meal. I meet you beside the table where you work late into the night. I meet you as you fold clothes, clean the floor, care for your children, care for your parents, or sit alone because you do not yet know where to go. Do not despise ordinary days. Many of my miracles begin with the small things the world overlooks. When you step out of that room to face your work, you may feel that you are doing things that do not match your dreams. Perhaps you once hoped for another path, another position, another life. At times you look at your desk and wonder whether all these efforts mean anything at all. I know that feeling. I know you are not only tired because you have worked hard, but also tired because you do not know whether what you are doing is leading anywhere. But my beloved child, do not despise faithfulness in small things. David cared for sheep before he stood before Goliath. Moses tended flocks in the wilderness before he led my people out of Egypt. Joseph served in prison before he was placed in a position to save an entire nation. It is not the place where you stand that determines your value, but the way you allow my light to pass through that place. Work with integrity. Learn something new. Keep your word. Be kind to those who cannot benefit you. Let others feel lighter after meeting you. They may not know why, but that is the seed of the kingdom of heaven that you are sowing in a hurried world. I also see those who are fathers, mothers, children, wives, husbands, and those who carry responsibilities within the family. Though no one fully knows their exhaustion, there are meals you prepare without receiving a thank you. There are sacrifices you make that others take for granted. There are times when you quietly give the better portion to the ones you love, then return to your room and wonder whether anyone sees you. I see every time you stay up late caring for a little child, every phone call you make to check on your parents, every amount of money you set aside to help a loved one, every time you swallow your tears to keep peace in the home. And I want you to remember that love is not always returned immediately, but sincere love is never useless. However, I also do not want you to lose yourself in trying to please everyone. You can love and still have boundaries. You can care for others and still need to be cared for. You can say no to what harms your soul. My love for you does not require you to become an empty vessel from which everyone comes to take. I want you to be filled, so that from that fullness, you may pour out peace. There are young people reading these words who feel lost in a world that always demands that they stand out. You see others succeed early, earn money early, become famous early, and you wonder why you are still no one. You fear that you are too slow. You fear that you are not talented enough. You fear that your dream is either too small or too late. But I want you to know that not every seed blooms on the same day as all the others. Every season has its own appointed time. You are not a copy of anyone. I did not create you to race on someone else's road. I created you with your own voice, your own heart, your own story. Do not let the beautiful images you see out there make you forget that behind every smile, there are battles people do not tell. Return to me. Return to what I placed in your heart from the beginning. Goodness. A desire to learn. The ability to love. And the longing to live a life that is useful. When you remain faithful to the true self I am nurturing within you, you will not need to pretend in order to belong anywhere. And to those who have passed through many years, who feel themselves growing older, who fear that their health is no longer what it used to be, I want you to listen carefully. I do not abandon you when your hair changes color or when your steps grow slower. The world often praises youth, strength, and outward beauty. But I look at the wisdom that time has sown within you. I look at the storms you have survived. I look at the lessons you had to pay a price to understand. I look at the gentleness born from loss. Though outwardly we are wasting away, inwardly we are being renewed day by day. Do not think your life is closing simply because one chapter has passed. There are ancient trees that no longer bloom as brightly as when they were young, yet their shade shelters many people. In the same way, your peaceful presence, your sincere advice, the stories you tell, and the prayers you offer can become a refuge for young souls who are confused. I still have things to do through your life, my beloved child. I know there are times when your mind refuses to be still. Your thoughts run faster than your feet. You try to sleep, but your heart keeps worrying. You try to pray, but your mind returns to things that have not yet happened. You fear sickness. You fear the future. You fear the bad things that could happen to the people you love. But today, I invite you to learn how to remain in the present with me. Take a deep breath. Feel the air entering your chest. Listen to the rain if it is raining outside. Look at the light if the sun is shining. Touch the blanket covering you. I am in this moment. The future that has not yet come does not need to steal your peace today. Jesus said, "Do not worry about tomorrow." Not because tomorrow has no challenges, but because tomorrow has its own grace. As for today, you only need enough strength for today. Today, you only need to take one step. Today, you only need to drink water, eat with care, rest, speak one sincere word, and complete one small task. Do not demand that you solve your entire life in one evening. From that peace, I want to lead you closer to the beauty of the world I created. Sometimes you are so busy running that you no longer see the sky. You pass a row of trees without noticing that the leaves are changing color. You hear birds singing, yet your mind is still busy arguing with old voices inside your heart. But nature continues to testify to my love every day. A flower does not need to strive to prove that it deserves to bloom. A river is not ashamed because it must bend around stones. A field after a dry season can still turn green again when the rain comes. You are the same. You do not need to bloom in every season. There is a season when you are called to rest. There is a season when you are called to learn. There is a season when you must pass through silence. There is a season when you must let go of old leaves. But do not mistake winter for the end. I am still working beneath the ground when your eyes cannot yet see anything. The roots are growing deeper. The soil is being prepared. And one day, what you thought had died arises again with new life. In the hours when you feel you have nothing to offer me, remember the boy with 5 loaves and 2 fish? That boy did not have much. What he carried was so small that others might have thought it was not worth mentioning. But when he placed that small offering in the hands of Jesus, it became a meal for many. You too may be thinking that you have only a little time, a little talent, a little money, a little strength, a little faith. But I am not asking how much you have. I am asking whether you are willing to place in my hands what you do have. One word of encouragement from you may keep someone from despair. One meal you share may warm a lonely person. One skill you use to help someone else may open a new path. One prayer you speak for someone may become the light they need. Do not wait until you feel perfect before beginning to do good. Begin with the smallest thing in your hand, and I will teach you how to multiply it. Perhaps you carry a secret in your heart that makes you ashamed. Perhaps it is a mistake you have not dared to confess, a habit you are still fighting, an anger you cannot control, a memory that makes you think you are no longer worthy. You are afraid that if I truly see it, I will turn away. But my child, I saw it even before you knew how to name your weakness. I know the darkest places in your heart, but I do not come there to condemn you. I come with a lamp. The Samaritan woman met Jesus at the well at noon, at an hour when few people went outside, perhaps because she did not want to face anyone's eyes. But he did not push her away. He spoke to her about living water, about a life that could be made new. The same is true for you. The past may explain why you are wounded, but it has no right to decide who you will be forever. I do not call you by the name of your mistakes. I call you by the name of love. I call you my beloved child. I call you one who is being restored. I call you one who still has hope. When you begin to believe that you are loved like this, you will gradually learn how to love yourself with a healthy love, not with arrogance that makes you think you are above others, but with gratitude that helps you understand your life is a gift. Do not speak to yourself with words you would never dare say to someone you love. Do not call yourself useless simply because you are going through a difficult season. Do not look in the mirror and see only the things you want to fix. Learn to look at those eyes as eyes that have seen much pain and yet still carry light. Look at those hands as hands that have worked, wiped away tears, and held others. Look at that body as a temple that needs to be cared for, not an enemy that needs to be punished. Eat more kindly, sleep more fully, walk beneath the sunlight, limit the things that drain your mind. I do not want you merely to exist. I want you to live. I want you to feel joy when you drink a sip of cool water, when you hear the laughter of your loved ones, when you see the blue sky after a rainy day. These simple things are grace as well. There will come times when you must step into difficult conversations, when you must speak the truth, when you must face what you have long avoided. Do not fear the truth, because truth spoken in love does not destroy you, it sets you free. Perhaps you need to tell someone that you have been hurt. Perhaps you need to apologize because you have caused someone sorrow. Perhaps you need to seek help from someone trustworthy, from family, friends, a mentor, a professional, or a healthy community of faith. I did not create you to fight alone. From the very beginning, I said that it was not good for man to be alone. So do not see opening your heart as a failure. Sometimes the miracle I send comes in the form of someone who knows how to listen. Sometimes the answer to your prayer is a hand reaching out at the right moment. Let others love you. Allow them to be present. Just as I am here in your room, I can use ordinary people to bring that presence even closer to you. And when you begin to heal, I want you not to forget those who are quietly hurting, just as you once hurt, not so that you may carry the burden of the whole world, but so that you may know that a wound that has been healed can become a place from which mercy flows. Someone needs to hear the words, "You are not alone." Someone is waiting for the words, "I am proud of you." Words they have never received from anyone. Someone does not need you to solve their life. They only need you to sit beside them without judgment. Become someone who can see the hearts that have been forgotten. Send a message to someone. Check on someone you have not seen in a long time. Say thank you to the one who serves quietly. Hold your children a little longer. Listen to your parents when they tell old stories. Be kind to the server. the cleaner, the one doing work that few people notice. Every act of love is a small candle, and in a world filled with much darkness, I still use small candles to guide the way. My beloved child, perhaps tonight you do not have all the answers. Perhaps you still do not know where the future is leading. Perhaps there are things you cannot yet fix, cannot yet understand, cannot yet let go of. But you do not need to solve everything right now in order to be loved by me. I love you even in your unfinished places. I am proud of you even while you are still learning how to rise again. I am here, right in this room, not only when you pray with beautiful words, but also when all you can say is, "Father, I am so tired." I hear those words. I am near to those words, and I answer you with a gentleness that the world cannot take away. Rest for a moment in my love. Let your heart know that it has not been abandoned. Tomorrow, there will again be things for you to do, roads for you to walk, trials for you to face, but you will not go alone. When you open the door of this room, I go with you. When you walk among the crowd, I am with you. When you do not know what choice to make, I can still guide you step by step. When you think you have reached your limit, my grace still remains. Therefore, before you sleep, stop looking at what you do not yet have and look at what I am still doing within you. I am teaching you patience. I am softening the places that have become hard. I am healing the places that once bled. I am planting new dreams in the place where you thought only ashes remained. I am preparing for you a season that you cannot yet see today. Do not give up in this small room. Do not believe the lie that no one cares about you. Do not let one bad day make you conclude that your whole life is meaningless. I called you with love before you had done anything to prove that you were worthy. I was beside you when you were small. I am beside you today, and I will still be beside you in the days to come. Close your eyes. My beloved child, place your hand upon your heart. Let that heartbeat remind you that I have not left. I am proud of you. Give me just one more minute. I am still here, in your room, and I will not allow my love to depart from you. And as you still sit there, in the familiar room that tonight somehow feels deeper than all other nights, I want you not to quickly think that this silence is emptiness. No, my beloved child, there are silences where love is quietly breathing. There are moments when no voice is heard. Yet within them, your soul is being cleansed of the dust of a long day. I know you have carried too many sounds into your heart, the comments of others, the numbers that are not enough, the messages left unanswered, the plans left unfinished, the questions no one has answered. All of them are like gusts of wind rushing into your mind, causing the lamp within you to tremble. But now, let me close the door on all those noises. Let this room become a place where you do not need to prove anything. You do not need to succeed in order to rest. You do not need to be strong in order to be loved. You do not need to speak beautiful words in order to be heard by me. It is enough that you are here. Enough that you are still breathing. Enough that you still want to return to peace. I am already near you. As it was written long ago, be still and know that I am God. There are things you will not understand while your heart is still restless. But when you learn to stop, you will realize that I never left the place where you thought you were most alone. Out there, the world may still be running very fast. Someone is succeeding. Someone is going far. Someone is being praised. Someone is stepping through doors you once longed to enter. And you may look at them and suddenly feel small. You may wonder why the things you prayed for have not yet come. Why you have tried so hard and still seem unseen. But my beloved child, Do not let another person's light make you forget the flame I am guarding within you. Every soul has its own season. Every seed has its own appointed moment to crack open and rise. You are not delayed in my hands, even when you feel as though your life is standing still. There are years that seem as if nothing is happening. Yet in truth, I am doing the deepest work. I am causing your roots to grow deeper so that when strong winds come, you will not be torn from the ground. I am teaching you to distinguish between what merely glitters and what is truly valuable. I am removing from you the dreams that were born only from comparison, so I may return to you a path shaped uniquely for your own life. Do not look at the clock of the world and condemn your journey. I am not in a hurry, as human beings are in a hurry. I do not forget my promise simply because you have not yet seen the result. What I have planted in you will grow, and when it grows in its proper season, no one will be able to stop it from blooming. Perhaps you once thought that I was only near bright places, places where prayers are spoken loudly, places where people sing beautiful songs. But my child, I am also in this small room, where sometimes all you know how to do is sit and hold yourself. I am there in the moment when you suddenly cry without understanding why the tears keep falling. I am there when you stare at a darkened screen and remember someone who no longer replies. I am there when you lie on your side, trying to sleep while your heart is still restless. I am not unfamiliar with your weakness. I do not step back when you are confused. On a night long ago, the boy Samuel lay sleeping in the temple, and he heard a voice calling his name. He thought it was the voice of a human being, so he ran to find his teacher. But then he understood that it was I who was calling him in the night. You are the same. There are times when what you think is emptiness is actually my voice calling you very softly. Not to blame you, not to ask why you have not done more. I call you only so you will remember that you have not been forgotten. I call your name in the hours when no one knows you. I call your name when the world does not applaud. I call your name when your heart has grown too weary to call its own name. So do not be afraid of long nights. The night is not the moment when I turn my face away. The night is the gentle veil I draw over the world so that all that is weary may rest. There are seeds that only begin to change in the darkness of the soil. There are streams that only appear after the sun has gone down. There are deepest prayers that are not spoken by the lips, but by a sigh. I hear even those sighs. I understand when you no longer have enough words to pray. Perhaps all you can say is, Lord, I do not know what to do. Perhaps you only place your hand upon your chest and remain silent. To me, that sincere silence is also a prayer. Do not think that faith must always be a powerful feeling. Tears pouring down, strong and certain words. Sometimes, faith is simply waking up tomorrow morning, even though today has made you deeply sad. Sometimes, faith is still believing that beyond a closed door, I have another way. Sometimes faith is when you do not yet see the light, but you still cannot bear to extinguish the small candle within your heart. And I look at that candle. I look at your hands, shielding it from the wind, and I say, you have done well. I am proud of you for still keeping that little light alive. If today your heart is tired because you have always had to understand everyone else, allow me to understand you. You do not need to be the strongest person in your family. You do not always need to be the listener, the one who carries the weight, the one standing in the middle to keep everything from falling apart. I know there are times when you smile so that others can feel at peace, while inside you only wish someone would ask, are you all right? I know there have been times when you said, it's okay, only because you were afraid that if you told the truth, others would think you were a burden. But my beloved child, you are not a burden in my eyes. Your emotions do not exhaust me. Your tears do not make me turn away. When you are weak, I do not love you less when you fall. I do not call you a failure. Just as the father in the story of the prodigal son ran out to embrace the child returning from far away, I also do not stand waiting for you to be clean, perfect, and full of beautiful explanations. I see you from afar. I recognize your weary steps. And before you can finish saying all the things that trouble your heart, my love has already begun moving toward you. That love is not a beautiful garment worn only on the days when you do well. It is a home whose door is always open when you return. It is a fire still burning when you thought you had lost everything sacred. There may have been days when you moved far from me because of anger, disappointment, or a pain so great that you no longer wanted to hear any words of comfort. Perhaps you once asked, "If you love me, why did you allow this to happen?" I do not blame you for that question. Questions born from pain also need to be held. I do not promise that your life will have no rainy seasons. I do not promise that everyone you love will always stay. I do not promise that you will never fail, never lose, never feel lonely. But I promise that in all those things, I will not leave you alone. When you pass through deep waters, I am with you. When you walk through fire, I will not let that flame consume your soul. There are things that have wounded you, but they will not have the right to write the ending of your life. I am still writing, and as long as I am still writing, your story still has hope. Look at your hands, my beloved child. Perhaps they are calloused from work. Perhaps they tremble from exhaustion. Perhaps they have held on to something and then had to let it go. But those hands can still do many beautiful things. They can cook a meal for someone you love. They can lift up someone who is discouraged. They can write an apology, a thank you, a word of encouragement that someone has waited a long time to receive. They can open a book and begin learning again from the beginning. They can fold clean clothes, wipe away a tear, plant a seed, stroke the hair of a child. Do not consider small things meaningless. I still work through very small things. A widow's jar of oil once seemed empty, but when she placed it in obedience, the oil continued to flow. A little bread, when shared, fed many people. A small stone in David's hand made a giant tremble. What you have today may not be much, but when you place it into my hands with a sincere heart, I can use it in ways you do not expect. Do not wait until you have everything before you begin living with kindness. Do not wait until you are no longer afraid before doing what is right. Begin with the smallest light you have. Then there are days when you look at yourself and see only cracks. You see that you are more easily wounded than others. You see that you think too much, worry too much, feel sad without knowing whom to tell. You see that the things you tried to forget still return. But my child, I do not see only the cracks. I see the light passing through them. A broken vessel may no longer be whole as it once was, but it can become the holder of another kind of beauty. A heart that has once suffered can become gentler toward the suffering of others. A person who has walked through darkness can recognize light more quickly than anyone else. I do not want you to love your pain, but I want you to know that pain is not meaningless when you entrust it to me. I can turn your tears into mercy. I can turn the days when you were abandoned into the ability to remain beside others. I can turn the silence that once frightened you into the place where you learn how to listen. And one day, when you meet a soul trembling in the dark night, you will not need to say great words. Your peaceful presence alone may already become an answer. But before you become light for someone else, I want you to receive light for yourself. Be gentle with this body, for it has walked with you through so many days. Do not force it to keep running when your soul needs rest. Do not speak cruel words to yourself when you look in the mirror. Do not see rest as laziness, and do not see tears as something shameful. You were created with limits, and limits do not make you less worthy. When you sleep enough, when you eat a proper meal, when you step outside to breathe the air, when you allow yourself to laugh at something small, you are not being selfish. You are caring for the gift I have given you. Perhaps you cannot change your whole life in one night, but you can begin to love yourself with one small act today. Drink some water, open the window, tidy one small corner of your room, place your hand upon your heart and say, I am still here. I will hear those words, and I will answer, yes, you are still here, and I am here too. When dawn comes, your difficulties may not have disappeared. The bills that must be paid may still be there. The relationships that have not yet been healed may still need time. Your work may still require effort from you. Illnesses, anxieties, and the questions of tomorrow may still stand ahead, but you will no longer look at them with the same eyes you had last night, because you now know that you are not stepping out of this room alone. I will go with you into the kitchen, onto the crowded road, into the office, into the hospital, into the classroom, into difficult conversations, and even into the places you once feared going. I do not promise to remove every mountain from your path, but I will give you the feet to climb each slope step by step. I do not promise to answer every question immediately, but I will give you enough peace so that the questions do not swallow you. I do not promise that others will always understand you, but I promise that I understand what lies deep within your heart, even when you do not know how to describe it. So before you close your eyes, or before you rise from where you are sitting, remember this: I am not proud of you only when you win. I am proud of you because you survived days when others never knew how hard you had to fight. I am proud because you still know how to love, even after being hurt. I am proud because you still believe in what is good, even when life has made you doubt everything. I am proud because among so many things that could have made you cold, you still have a heart that can be moved by beauty, by kindness, by a sincere word. Do not let what you have not yet achieved hide what I have quietly formed within you. You have gone farther than you think. You are stronger than you know. You are loved more deeply than you have ever dared to believe. And if tonight you can do only one thing, then let it be this: stay with me for one more minute. You do not need to say anything. You do not need to find a perfect prayer. Just let me sit with you in this room. Let me listen to the sound of your heart. Let me gather up the scattered pieces of thought you have dropped along the way. Let me cover your shoulders with a peace that the world cannot give and cannot take away. Tomorrow may not yet be clear, but you do not need to see the whole road in order to take the first step. You only need to see enough light for one step, and then step forward. I will be there. When you turn back, I will still be there. When you move forward, I will be there too. And when you think you are alone in this silent room, remember, I have never left. I am here. I am still proud of you. I still call you my beloved child, and my love for you will remain. Gentle as the first light of day, steadfast as the sky, deeper than all the sorrows you have ever carried in your heart. And while you still place your hand upon your heart, still listening to that small yet persistent heartbeat echoing in the quiet room, I want you to understand that it is not only the sound of life, but also a gentle reminder that I am still writing the next part of your story. Perhaps you once thought your life was like a book forgotten on a shelf, its first pages filled with hope, while the pages that followed were gradually covered by tears, by things that did not go as you wished, by questions that never received an answer. Perhaps there are chapters you want to tear out, days you wish had never happened, faces you wish you had never met, decisions you wish you had never made. But my beloved child, I do not look at the book of your life with the eyes of someone waiting only to find mistakes. I look at every wrinkled page, every trembling line, every stain of ink blurred by tears. And I still say, this story is not finished. Even if you have only enough strength to open your eyes tomorrow morning, that is already one way you continue writing. Even if you dare to take only one very small, very slow, very quiet step, I still see that you are moving, and I do not despise any step that is turning toward the light, no matter how weak it may be. Beyond that door, the world may still be noisy. There are people running very fast, laughter rising somewhere in the distance, city lights refusing to go out, vehicles still gliding through the night as though nothing could ever make them stop. But here, in this room, I want to give you a space to breathe, something the world often does not know how to offer. You do not need to prove anything in this moment. You do not need to answer every message. You do not need to explain why you are tired. You do not need to force yourself to appear strong so that someone will believe you are all right. There are moments when your soul needs to be still, like the surface of a lake after the wind has quieted. Not because you are running away from life, but because you need to return to the deepest place within yourself, where I am still waiting for you with peace. The world may call silence emptiness, but I know that in silence, quiet seeds are beginning to grow. When you stop running, you can finally hear my voice. When you stop blaming yourself, you can finally feel my hand holding you up. When you no longer try to please the whole world, you can finally realize that I have never asked you to become anyone other than the person I created you to be. Perhaps you have once sat by a window on some quiet night, looking at the lights from other homes and wondering whether there was anyone in those rooms who felt as lonely as you did. You saw the warm yellow light shining from afar, and your heart imagined families gathered together, people being listened to, hearts having a place to return to. And you, perhaps, were sitting alone with thoughts no one knew about. But my child, loneliness does not mean you are unloved. There are seasons when I allow you to pass through silence, not to push you away from people, but to teach you to recognize that love does not exist only in human voices. My love can touch you through a night breeze slipping through the doorway, through the rustling of leaves outside the porch, through the lingering scent of rice in the kitchen, through a short message from someone asking whether you have eaten, through the gaze of a small animal lying quietly at your feet. I send those signs to tell you that you have not been forgotten. You may not see me with your eyes, but I am present in the gentle things you unknowingly pass by every day. So do not be too quick to believe that your life is lacking something simply because it does not look like someone else's. Some people are given a smooth road, yet they have never learned to see miracles in ordinary things. Some people receive much applause, yet when night falls, they do not know who they are if no one is praising them. Some people have wealth, yet still hunger for a sincere embrace. As for you, perhaps you are walking a rougher path, but the very stones beneath your feet have taught you to walk slowly, to look carefully, and to hold on to what is real. You have learned to treasure a warm meal, a call from a loved one, a deep sleep, a day when nothing terrible happens. To others, those things may seem too small to mention, but to me, they are flowers growing along the road of your life. And as it is written, whoever is faithful in very little is also faithful in much. I want you to know that your gratitude in small things is a very beautiful form of faith. It tells me that even though you do not yet understand everything, you still believe there is light in this life. Then there will be days when memories return, not like a gentle guest, but like a sudden rain that drenches your whole soul. It may be the memory of a promise that was never fulfilled, a person who turned away, a time when you were misunderstood, a day when you tried your very best and still were not chosen. Those memories may bring you back to the weaker version of yourself, making you feel small again as you once did, as if every wound were still fresh. But I want you to remember that you are no longer the person you were on that day. You have gone through more than you think. You survived nights you once believed you could not get through. You stood up after falls that, at the time, you thought would leave you broken forever. The scars may still remain, but scars are not signs of failure. They are proof that your flesh was once torn, yet it closed again. They are proof that your soul once bled, yet it still knows how to love. Do not hate your scars. My beloved child, I can turn the very place where you once hurt into the place from which your deepest compassion shines. That is why, when you meet someone who is sad, you will know not to rush to tell them they must be strong. When you see someone fail, you will know not to turn away as though they are unworthy of love. When you hear someone say they are tired, you will understand that behind those two words there may be an entire ocean no one can see. The things you have gone through were not meant to make you bitter, but so that, if you choose, I can use them to give you new eyes. Those eyes will see the pain others try to hide. Those hands will know how to touch a trembling heart without frightening it. That voice may become a shelter for someone standing outside in the storm. Perhaps you have once asked me why you had to go through so much. I do not say that every pain is something I wanted for you, because this world has freedom, wounds, and the wrong choices of human beings. But I can take what once made you cry and use it to grow within you a heart that loves more deeply, forgives more widely, and lifts others up with the very tenderness you once longed to receive. And if there are moments when you feel it is already too late to begin again, I want you to look at a garden after the rain. Some seeds lie beneath the soil for a very long time. People passing by think they are dead, because there is no sign above the ground that life still exists. But where human eyes cannot see, the shell of the seed is cracking. Roots are finding their way downward, and a sprout is quietly reaching upward toward the light. You are like that as well. There were years when you thought you were not moving forward, when you thought every effort was meaningless, when you thought you were only standing still in the same sadness. But perhaps during that time, I was doing something deeper than what you could measure. I was teaching you to distinguish between the voice of fear and the voice of truth. I was teaching you to choose people who bring peace instead of those who only leave your heart emptier. I was teaching you to realize that not every closed door is a loss. Some doors close to keep you from entering places that would break you. Do not be too quick to call waiting abandonment. Many times, I am preparing your roots before I allow you to see the flowers. You may not understand why your prayer has not yet been answered in the way you hoped. Perhaps you prayed for a door to open, yet it remained closed. You prayed for someone to stay, yet they still left. You prayed for healing, yet the painful days have not completely disappeared. And in that waiting, you began to doubt whether I heard you at all. But my beloved child, I have never turned my face away from your prayer. There are prayers I answer with the very thing you ask for. There are prayers I answer by leading you to another path. And there are prayers I answer by staying with you long enough so that you do not collapse before the new season comes. You often think an answer is only valuable when it comes as a great miracle. But many times, the answer is the strength to get through one more day. It is a person calling you at the right moment. It is a small opportunity appearing when you thought you had no hope left. It is your heart gradually hurting less without you even realizing it. It is a morning when you open your eyes and find that you no longer cry as you once did. I work in very small things, but my grace has never been small. In this room, I also want you to look at the things around you with new eyes. The chair you sit on may be old. The table may be covered with papers. The glass of water may seem like an ordinary object. But each of those things tells you that life is still continuing. You still have a place to sit, water to drink, a roof to shelter under, hands to work with, and a heart with which to hope. Do not despise what is present simply because you are hurting over what has been lost. I do not ask you to pretend that pain does not exist, but I want you not to let pain cover the whole sky. There are still many stars in the sky of your life. It is just that, on some nights, the clouds are too thick for you to see them. Learn to name the small graces, someone who still loves you, a meal that is still warm, an opportunity that is still coming, a new day still being given. When you begin to see those things, your heart will slowly make room for hope to return. I know there are times when you are afraid of hope, because you have hoped and been disappointed too many times. You are afraid to open your heart because you fear being wounded again. You are afraid to begin because you fear failing again. You are afraid to love because you fear that one day you may lose. But my child, closing the door of your heart is not the way to avoid pain. Many times, it only keeps you from receiving light. I am not telling you to be naive. I want you to be wise, to observe, to choose carefully, and to protect the peace I have placed within your heart. But do not let the bad things that once happened make you doubt all the good things that may still come. Not everyone will leave as that person left. Not every road leads to failure. Not every tomorrow carries the darkness of yesterday. There are people I will send to love you with sincerity. There are doors I will open at the very moment when you no longer dare to knock. There are joys that will find you after long days that seem to hold nothing but tears. Keep a small opening in your heart for the light to enter, my beloved child, and when that light returns, do not think that you must become a completely different person. I do not need you to turn into some unfamiliar version of yourself in order to be worthy of joy. I only want you to return closer to the true person I placed in this world. Perhaps you are sensitive. Do not see that as a burden. Your sensitivity may help you hear the things others overlook. Perhaps you are quiet. Do not think you are less than those who speak much. Your silence may become a place of peace for weary souls. Perhaps you do not yet have a talent that makes others marvel, but you have a way of loving that makes someone feel seen. And that, too, is a gift. I did not create you to live by imitating the light of others. I placed a fire of your own within your heart. Perhaps it does not blaze into a great flame that makes the whole world notice, but it is enough to warm your home, enough to guide someone who is lost, enough to keep you from forgetting that I have placed meaning in this life. Perhaps after tonight, the things you are worried about will not disappear yet. The bills will still remain. Work will still be waiting. Relationships will still need healing. Your body may still feel tired, and your heart may still have places that are not yet at peace. But when you open your eyes tomorrow, I hope you will no longer look at all those things with the same old eyes. You do not have to face them alone. I will go with you into the difficult phone call, into the long workday, into the kitchen where you prepare a meal, into the hospital where you wait for a result, onto the road where you drive in the rain, into the moment when you must say goodbye, and into the very minutes when you do not know what to do next. I am not only the God of great churches, of resounding hymns, of candlelit holy days. I am also the God of the small room, of the tear on the pillow, of weary hands, of the prayer that is no longer than a breath. I am there. I hear there. I love you there. So before you close your eyes, forgive yourself for the things you could not do today. Lay down the accusations you keep repeating in your mind. Leave the unfinished days in my hands. You do not need to carry them into sleep like a heavy sack upon your shoulders. Sleep now, My beloved child, let your body rest. Let your mind be still. Let your soul remember that it has a Father who never grows tired of listening. Tomorrow, when light touches this room again, you will not wake as someone defined by the past, but as someone who is still loved, still being guided, and still has a road ahead. And even though you cannot yet see the whole road, I see it. Even though you do not yet know where you are going, I know. Even though you can only walk slowly, I will still walk at the pace of your steps. Be at peace, for I am still here, not only in your room tonight, but in every day, every breath, every season of life you still have to pass through. I am proud of you, and I will not leave you. And as you allow your heart to settle into that presence, I want you to understand that this silence is not an empty space. It is not proof that you have been forgotten, nor is it a cold room where your prayers dissolve into the air. This silence is the place where I am sitting beside you, more patient than every breath of human life, gentler than the small light still glowing in the corner of the wall. There are times when I do not come to you through thunder, when I do not tear open the sky to answer every question you ask, when I do not immediately remove from you the burdens you have carried for too long. But I come like the gentle whisper that once passed before Elijah when he was weary and confused. I come through a very small feeling of peace that you think is only passing by. I come through the moment when you suddenly want to drink a sip of water, open the window to let the light in, call a loved one to ask how they are, or forgive yourself one more time. That is not something insignificant. My beloved child, that is the trace of life returning within you. There are miracles that do not shake the earth, but they cause a heart that once wanted to surrender, to choose to remain for one more day. And to me, that small decision of yours is more precious than all the applause of the world. Perhaps you once thought that for me to be proud of you, you had to accomplish something truly great. You thought you had to win a glorious battle, become very rich, very successful, very outstanding, and make people look up and say that you were worthy. But I have seen your beauty in the things no one notices. I saw when you quietly let someone else have the better portion. I saw when you held back an angry word even while a storm was raging inside you. I saw when you stopped at the door of your home, took a deep breath, and then walked in with a calm face so that the people you loved would not have to receive your exhaustion. I saw when you still went to work, still cared for your family, still answered the necessary calls, even though inside you there were cracks no one knew about. And I want you never to underestimate the strength of kindness. Some people think victory is standing high above others. But I know that some of the greatest victories take place in rooms without an audience. When you choose not to take revenge, when you choose not to lie, when you choose not to abandon yourself. As Scripture reminds us, whoever is faithful in very little is also faithful in much. I do not only look at where you will arrive, I look at how you walk through each day. Therefore, when you think about the years that have passed, do not look at them only as a chain of losses. There were times when I allowed you to slow down, not to make you fall behind, but so that your soul could catch up with your body. There were doors that closed, not because I wanted to take away your joy, but because on the other side of those doors was no longer a place where your soul could be at peace. There were people who left your life, not because you were not good enough, but because you needed to learn that true love does not require you to trade your dignity in order to be kept. I know you have blamed yourself many times. You have returned to old memories and searched through every word, every action, to see where you went wrong. But my child, not every broken thing was caused by you. Some seeds cannot bloom because the soil is not right. Some roads cannot continue because they were designed only to bring you to a lesson. And some people appear for only a short season to teach you what your heart truly needs. Do not carry the whole world on your shoulders and call it responsibility. I have never asked you to save everyone. I only want you to live truthfully. Love sincerely. And let me heal the parts you cannot heal by yourself, while you are still wondering about the things you do not understand. Remember Joseph, who was once sold by his own brothers. Surely there were nights in a foreign land when he too looked up at the sky and wondered why his life had been pushed into such darkness. He could not know that the years of betrayal, false accusation, and imprisonment would one day become the road that led him to a place where he could save many lives. I do not say that your pain is beautiful. Pain is still pain, and I do not rejoice when I see you cry. But I can do what you cannot yet see. I can cause what once tried to destroy you to become the place where wisdom, mercy, and strength are formed within you. One day, when you look back, perhaps you will realize that in the very hours when it seemed as though I was most silent, I was teaching your heart things that no school could ever teach. I was giving you eyes that know how to empathize with those who suffer. I was giving you hands that know how to lift up instead of condemn. I was giving you a voice that can comfort those who are walking through darkness, just as you once walked through it. Even so, do not think that I am present only in the great stories of your life. I am also in the simple things you often pass by because you are too busy. I am in the sound of water boiling in the morning, in the scent of hot rice from the kitchen, in the shirt you fold neatly for tomorrow, in the soft sound of leaves touching one another on the balcony, in the pair of sandals placed by the door after a long day. You may not realize it, but your life is woven together by thousands of small things, quietly holding you to this world. When you are tired, you often look only at what you do not yet have. You look at the house that is not spacious enough, the job that is not as you wished, the account that is not full, the relationship that is not complete, the body that is not as healthy as desire. But try to look at the things I still give you each day. A chance to begin again, a person who is still beside you, a meal, a roof, a night to rest, a new morning. I am not telling you to be satisfied with every lack, nor am I telling you to stop dreaming. I only want you not to let what has not yet come blind you to the graces already in your hands. And from that gratitude, you will find the strength to keep walking, not the kind of strength that forces you to become someone else, but the kind of strength that brings you back to the true person I created you to be. You do not need to wear a cheerful face at all times. You do not need to prove that you are never weak. You do not need to try to become someone everyone likes. I did not create you to chase approval as though chasing a shadow. Some people will not understand you, and that does not mean you are wrong. Some places will not welcome you, and that does not mean you do not belong anywhere. Perhaps I am keeping you away from places that make your soul shrink, so that I may lead you to a place where you can grow in freedom and truth. Do not be afraid to be different when that difference helps you preserve the light within your heart. Do not be afraid to walk slowly when you are walking in the right direction. A seed does not need to compete with a star. It only needs to rest in the soil. Receive the rain, welcome the light, and bloom in its proper season. Perhaps right now, what makes you most weary is not what is happening outside, but the words you speak to yourself every day. There is a voice within you that keeps reminding you that you are not enough. Not talented enough, not beautiful enough, not successful enough, not lovable enough, not strong enough. It makes you look at every mistake as a sentence against you. Every delay is proof that you can never amount to anything. But I want you to pause for a moment and ask, does that voice truly come from love? Because my love does not humiliate you. I may correct you, but I do not crush you. I may show you what needs to change, but I do not use your mistakes to define you. When Jesus met the woman condemned by the world, he did not deny that her life needed renewal. but he also did not allow the crowd to stone her to death. With a gentleness full of power, he told her that she was free to step onto another path. I want to say the same to you. You can change without needing to hate yourself. You can make things right without seeing yourself as hopeless. You can learn to grow without using harshness to drive your heart to exhaustion. So tonight, begin by speaking a gentle word to yourself. Sigh. I am learning. I am trying. I am not perfect, but I am not abandoned. Then let me add to those words a deeper truth. You were loved before you ever achieved anything. When you were still a child who did not know how to do anything for the world, I already saw you as precious. When you stumbled, I did not turn my face away. When you lost your way, I did not close the door. When you rebelled, I still waited. Remember the story of the father watching from afar for his prodigal son. He did not run out to list all his son's failures. He ran out because love had already been there before the apology. My beloved child, there are times you return to me with empty hands, with a heart full of regret, with broken prayers. But I do not ask how many achievements you have brought back. I only want you to return. I only want you to step into the house, sit down at the table, and believe that there is still a place reserved for you. And as you gradually come to believe in that love, you will no longer have to live as though you are running away. You will not need to use work to hide your loneliness, not need to use pleasures to soothe an empty heart, not need to keep people beside you by losing yourself. I know there are things you cling to only because you are afraid that if you let go, nothing will remain. But not everything you hold on to is preserving life within you. Some things are like dry branches, once part of your life, but now only making your steps heavier. It may be a relationship that no longer respects you. It may be a habit that makes your mind grow darker and darker. It may be resentment you have nurtured for too long. It may be an old dream you are afraid to release, even though it no longer reflects who you are today. I am not forcing you to cut everything away in one night, but I invite you to place each of these things before me and honestly say, Father, I do not know how to let go. Please teach me, and I will teach you through small days, through small choices, through the moments when you choose what is good instead of what is merely familiar. On that journey, do not forget to care for your mind as you would care for a garden. Not every thought needs to be believed. Some thoughts are only clouds passing by. Some fears are only echoes from old days. Some words spoken by others have stayed in your heart too long and made you think they are the truth. But you have the right to choose what is planted in your soul. Stay away from the things that cloud your heart. Be careful with what you hear, what you watch, and what you allow to repeat again and again in your mind. Seek the things that nourish life, a passage of scripture, a peaceful song, a friend with a gentle heart, a walk beneath the blue sky, a book that reminds you that life still has meaning. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. You do not need to control everything in the world, but you can learn to protect the doorway of your soul. And each time you choose what is good, you are opening another window for my light to enter. Then, amid all the things you are learning to release and to cherish, I want you to look at the people I have placed around your life. Perhaps they are not perfect. Perhaps your family does not look like the beautiful pictures people post online. There are misunderstandings, distance, and stories that have not yet been fully spoken. But sometimes, when just one person begins to soften their heart, an entire home can slowly begin to change. Let that person be you. Not by carrying everyone's responsibility, but by bringing a little peace into the place where you stand. A sincere apology can open a door that has been closed for years. A gentle question can make someone who is hiding sadness feel truly seen. A meal where you sit with your family, without holding your phone, can become a memory more precious than you imagine. Do not wait until everyone is perfect before you love them. But also do not forget that healthy love always contains truth, respect, and freedom. I want you to learn how to be close without losing your peace. To know how to give without letting your own heart become empty. If you are raising a child, remember that the words you speak today may become the voice inside their mind when they grow up. Do not let weariness cause you to hand them the wounds you once received. You do not need to be a perfect father or mother. I know there are days when you feel helpless, times when you speak carelessly, nights when you lie down and fear that you have not done well enough. But love is not found in never being wrong. Love is found in knowing how to return, how to embrace, how to say, I am sorry, my child, I love you. Children do not need a home with no mistakes. They need a home where mistakes are healed by love. And if you were once a child who grew up lacking affection, let me remind you that the past does not have to repeat itself. I can teach you how to love in a different way. I can be the father who fills the empty places your heart has carried. And if you are alone, do not believe that loneliness means your life has no meaning. There are seasons when I lead you into stillness so that you can hear your own heart more clearly. Being alone can become a mirror, a place where you recognize the things you have always avoided, the dreams you have not dared to name, the abilities I placed within you that you have never truly trusted. Do not rush to find someone merely to fill the emptiness that only I can heal. Let my love fill you first, so that when you meet the right person, you will not love them out of fear of being abandoned, but from a place of freedom. And while you are waiting, do not close the door of your heart. Keep living, learning, serving, connecting, and smiling at life. There are encounters I am preparing in the days you least expect. There are people who will love you not because you try to become someone else, but because they recognize the true light within you. In the same way, when your health is not well, when your body makes you afraid, when a lingering pain leaves you feeling weak, do not think that I am distant. I am very near in the days when you must go to medical appointments, in the mornings when you do not have enough strength to walk quickly, in the moments when you need to ask others for help. I know that sometimes you are frightened because you cannot control your own body. I know you look at others who are healthy and feel sad because of your own limitations. But you are not merely an illness, not merely a test result, not merely what your body cannot yet do. You are a precious soul, someone who can still love, still receive love, still bring light into life. Care for yourself with wisdom. Seek help when you need it. Rest when your body speaks. And do not be ashamed because you have to slow down. Some of the strongest people are not those who have never been weak, but those who know how to receive their limitations with faith and gentleness. Then there will come days when you feel that every effort is useless. Perhaps you have sown what is good but have not yet seen the result. Perhaps you have worked hard but still have not been recognized. Perhaps you have prayed for something for a very long time and still have not seen an answer. In those moments, I want you to remember the farmer who does not dig up the seed every morning to see whether it has grown. He still waters, still waits, still believes that beneath the dark soil, life is quietly at work. Faith is the same. You may not always feel that I am working, but I am still working. You may not always see the path clearly, but I am still leading. You may not always receive what you ask for at the exact moment you desire, but I am still holding you in a hand that does not tremble. There are prayers I answer with, "This is what you need." There are prayers I answer with, "Not yet." And there are prayers I answer with, "I have another path, better than what you can see." Believe that delay is not always denial. Sometimes it is love preparing the way. Therefore, before this night closes, I do not want you to leave this room with the same heavy heart you brought in. Lay down one thing you have carried for too long. It may be fear about tomorrow. It may be regret about yesterday. It may be the pressure to become perfect. It may be the feeling that you must carry everything on your own. Lay it down here, in the quiet space between me and you. I do not promise that every problem will disappear the moment you close your eyes, but I promise that you no longer need to carry them alone. When tomorrow morning comes, you may still have to face the same old things, but you will face them differently, because you know there is a love walking with you. Sleep in that peace. Let your eyes rest. Let your mind stop running. I will guard what you cannot control. I will be with those you love. I will lead you through tomorrow, one step at a time. And when you wake up, whether the sky is sunny or rainy, whether your heart feels light or still carries a little sadness, remember the words I am still speaking to you from within this room. You are not invisible. You are not meaningless. You have not fallen behind the plan of love. I know your name. I know your tears. I know the dreams you have not dared to tell anyone. I know the fear you hide behind your smile. But more than all these things, I know who you can become when you allow my love to heal and guide you. I am proud of you not because you have finished the road, but because you are still walking. I am proud of you not because you have never been broken, but because in the midst of your brokenness, you still choose to believe that you can be rebuilt. Hold this truth in your heart. I am here. I am still here. In your room. In your ordinary days. In your stormy seasons. In every fragile breath I have given you. And my love will not leave you. And as you remain silent like that, with your hand still resting on your chest to feel your heart still beating, I want you to understand that each heartbeat is not only a sign of life, but also my quiet answer to you. There are things you cannot see, yet they are still sustaining you every day. Like the air you breathe in without needing to ask. Like the light that still finds its way to the crack in the door, no matter how long the night has been. Like the ground that quietly bears your footsteps, even after you have walked upon it with so much weariness. My love is the same, not always loud, not always appearing through wondrous signs that leave you astonished, but present in every small thing you accidentally pass by. I am in the glass of water you drink when your throat is dry, in the blanket that keeps you warm when night falls, in the birdsong echoing from afar on a morning that seems ordinary. I am in the gentle eyes of a stranger, in the hand someone reaches out when you are almost falling, in a word of concern you think is very small but is enough to make your heart feel less cold. You often wait for me in distant places, in truly grand moments, but I come closest to you in the simple things that only a grateful heart can recognize. But I know, my beloved child, that sometimes life is so unstable that you no longer have the strength to see those gentle things. You wake up with a mind already filled with worry. You step into a new day while still carrying yesterday's darkness in your heart. There are times when you do not truly want to give up on life, but you simply wish everything could pause for a little while, so you would not have to keep holding yourself together, not have to answer, not have to prove that you are okay. I understand that feeling more than you think. I know there are kinds of exhaustion that do not live in the legs, but in the soul. They make every task feel too heavy, every word too sharp, every tomorrow too far away. But my child, even when you no longer know how to pray, I still hear your sighs, even when all you can do is sit there, staring into the distance without saying a word. I still understand what your heart is asking for. There are prayers not spoken by the mouth, but spoken through tears. There are cries that make no sound, Yet, I still receive them as a deep calling from, my child. Remember Hagar in the wilderness. She had reached a place that seemed to have no road left, had seen her own desperation, and thought that no one knew she was hurting. She was there, beneath the heat, amid loneliness, surrounded by the feeling of being abandoned, not knowing what she could use to nourish hope for tomorrow. But it was precisely in that wilderness that I came near to her. I did not merely see her, I called her by name, and Hagar called me the God who saw her. You, too, may be walking through a private wilderness that others do not understand. Perhaps you smile at everyone while feeling dry and empty inside. Perhaps you are in the middle of your family and still feel alone. Perhaps you are carrying responsibilities too great. Yet no one knows how hard you have tried not to collapse. But I see you. I see even the things you try to hide. I see the wounds no one has touched. I see the dreams you are afraid to name because you fear they will never come true. And I do not look at you with cold pity. I look at you with the love of a father who never turns his face away from your tears. Perhaps you have blamed me because I did not come sooner. Perhaps there have been nights when you asked, why must I go through this? Why must I suffer loss? Why did that person leave? Why have I tried so hard and still not seen a way open? I do not condemn you for those questions. I am not afraid of your honesty. You do not need to bring me a pretend faith, a pretend smile, or a pretend peace. Tell me what you truly feel. Tell me even when you are angry, when you are confused, when you do not understand. David once cried out in his dark nights. Job once sat in his pain and asked me about his fate. Even those who loved me deeply had moments when they did not understand the path I was leading them on. But what kept them from being swallowed by despair was not that they always had answers, but that they still returned to me within those questions. You, too, return to me, not with beautiful words, but simply with an honest heart. Then from that place of honesty, I will teach you something that takes a long time to understand. Not every closed door is rejection. Some doors close because behind them is a place that would wound you even more. Some relationships drift away not because you are not good enough, but because they are no longer a place where your soul can be nourished. Some jobs you lose are not the end of your life, but a way I am pulling you out of a place that has slowly made you lose yourself. Some plans that do not come to pass are not proof that you have failed, but a sign that I am leading you along another path your eyes have not yet seen. You only see the door closing before you, but I see the entire road behind it. You only see today's loss, but I see tomorrow's seed being planted in the soil. So do not be quick to call a painful season a season of abandonment. Do not be quick to call a delay a refusal. There are things I am doing in the darkness, like roots growing beneath the earth, quietly but powerfully. You are often afraid of delay because you can see time passing. You see youth going by quickly. You see others achieving what you once dreamed of. You see many of your plans pulled in another direction by life before they even had a chance to begin. And then you wonder whether you still have time. But my child, do not use the clock of the world to measure my love and my plan. Some people bloom very early, others only begin to shine after many quiet years. Some trees need one season to take root. Others need many years before they are strong enough to stand firm against great winds. I am not building your life like grass that grows quickly and withers quickly. I am building you like a tree with deep roots, so that when storms come, you will not be swept away by fear. The years you thought were useless, the days you thought were filled only with disappointment, the times you had to learn again from the beginning, these may be the very soil I am using to make your heart deeper, your eyes clearer, and your love wider. One day, you will look back on the road you have walked and understand that I never wasted a single one of your tears. My beloved child, I also want you to stop fighting with yourself. You have become too used to blaming yourself, pressuring yourself, telling yourself that you must be stronger, better, faster, more beautiful, more successful. At times, you treat your own heart more harshly than anyone else ever could. You do not allow yourself to rest. You do not allow yourself to be wrong. You do not allow yourself to be weak. But I do not want you to live as though you must earn my love through perfection. I do not love you because you do everything well. I love you because you are you. When a child falls, a good father does not stand far away and scold the child for stumbling. He comes near, lifts the child up, brushes the dust from their knees, and then takes their hand to keep walking. I am the same. When you stumble, I do not turn away. When you wander onto the wrong path, I do not abandon you. When you fail, I do not call you a failure. I only call you back. I only remind you that you are still my beloved child, still the one I am reshaping with patience and grace. If you see the crooked places within yourself, do not be afraid. Do not rush to hate them. Bring them before me. There are cracks within you that are not meant to make you ashamed, but to let the light come in. There are fears that make you tremble, but if you dare to look directly at them with me, they will no longer have the same power to control you as before. There are habits that make you feel imprisoned, but I do not call you a prisoner of the past. I call you one who is being set free. Freedom is not a moment when you suddenly have no weakness left. Freedom is when, each day, you choose to step out of the darkness a little more. It is when you know you may fall, yet still rise again. It is when you know you may be hurt, yet refuse to let pain turn you into someone who wounds others. It is when you know you may be afraid, yet still take one small step forward in faith. Therefore, I want you to begin loving the small steps. Do not think that only great things carry meaning. A day when you wake up 10 minutes earlier to sit quietly with me is also a step. A moment when you choose not to answer with anger is also a step. An evening when you turn off the things that exhaust your mind and choose. Instead, a quiet space to rest is also a step. A phone call you make to apologize. A message you send to someone who has not been checked on for a long time. A small amount of money you save instead of spending out of emotion. A good deed you do without waiting for anyone to notice. All of these are seeds. I do not work only through radiant moments. I work through the very ordinary decisions you choose each day. And it is these small things that will gradually shape a new life. When you begin to live more slowly, you will realize that I am still speaking to you in many ways. Sometimes I speak through a Bible verse you happen to read again at the exact moment your heart is weak. Sometimes I speak through the words of a friend, even though you never told them what you are going through. Sometimes I speak through a song, through the sound of rain, through an afternoon that suddenly becomes clear after many gloomy days. Sometimes I speak only through a very gentle peace that comes into your heart, like a leaf falling onto the surface of a lake without stirring the waters. Do not think that I must always come with thunder and lightning for it to be me. Elijah once looked for me in the mighty wind, in the earthquake, and in the fire. But I came to him in a gentle whisper. I am still speaking to you in that way. You may not always hear me right away, because your heart may be too filled with noise. But when you learn to pause, you will realize that I have never been silent. Perhaps what you need most right now is not to know the whole future, but to trust that I am leading you through today. You always want to see the entire road. You want to know when this will end, when your finances will become stable, when the wound will heal, when the person you love will change, when better work will come. But I often give you only enough light to walk a short distance. Not because I want to hide things from you, but because I want you to learn how to hold my hand. If you could see everything from the beginning, perhaps you would never know what faith is. But when you walk step by step through uncertainty and still feel my hand, your heart will mature. Every day you choose to believe before you see is a day when your soul is being enlarged. Every time you keep walking while you are still afraid is a time when you are telling the darkness that it does not have the final word. I know there are people you love who are hurting you. There are relationships that make you want to hold on and let go at the same time. There are family members you cannot simply leave behind. Yet every conversation with them leaves your heart weary. I am not telling you to endure everything in silence just to prove that you love. Love does not mean allowing another person to destroy the peace I have placed within you. You can forgive and still keep distance. You can pray for someone without continuing to step into the place where they wound you. You can love and still say, "This is no longer good for my soul." I will give you wisdom to distinguish between compassion and abandoning yourself. I want your heart to remain tender, but I do not want it to be crushed. I want you to know how to love, but also how to protect the place where I am healing you. There will also be days when you must walk through a part of the road alone, where no one understands. Others may not agree with your choice. They may say you have changed, that you are hard to understand, that you are no longer who you used to be. But do not be afraid when you must step away from the things that no longer belong to you. Abraham had to leave what was familiar to go to a land he did not yet know. He did not hold a complete map in his hands. He did not have explanations for every stage of the journey. He had only my calling, and he went. You, too, will have moments when you must go in that same way, leaving an old thought, leaving an old habit, leaving an unhealthy relationship, leaving a fear that has held your feet for too long. You may not know everything waiting ahead, but I know I do not call you to leave so that you may become lost. I call you to step out so that you may discover a wider land within your own soul. Do not be afraid of the quiet seasons of your life. The world often makes you believe that if nothing big is happening, if no one is mentioning your name, if there is no achievement to show, then your life is meaningless. But quiet seasons are also where I nourish the deepest things. In silence, I teach you to listen. In simplicity, I teach you contentment. On the days when no one applauds, I teach you to do what is right simply because it is good. In rooms where there is no one but you and me, I teach you to realize that your worth does not rest in the eyes of the crowd. Do not run away from quietness too quickly. There are things that are born only when you stop trying to fill every empty space. There are words I speak only when you are willing to sit still. There are dreams I place in your heart only after the noise of the world has settled. And then, one day, you will realize that you are no longer the same person who entered this room. Not because you have become someone who never hurts, never fears, and never cries, but because you have learned how to cry in my arms. You have learned how to be afraid and still pray. You have learned how to be disappointed without losing hope. You have learned how to look at the past without letting it bind you anymore. You have learned that peace is not a life without storms, but knowing that I am with you, even in the middle of a raging sea. Then the things that once made you despair will become testimonies that you were preserved. The wounds that once made you ashamed will become places where you understand others more deeply. The days when you thought you could not survive will become proof that my grace was truly sufficient for you. My beloved child, look at yourself with gentler eyes. Perhaps you have not gone as far as you hoped, but you have come much farther than where you once stood. Perhaps you have not yet become the person you want to be, but you are no longer the person of those days when you were completely lost. Perhaps you are still healing, but your wound no longer bleeds as it once did. Perhaps you are still learning how to love, but your heart is no longer as closed as it was at the beginning. I see these things, I see every step forward that no one else notices. I see how much braver you have become, even though you still think you are weak. I see how much more patient you have become, even though you still think you are moving slowly. I see how much more loving you have become, even when you still fear that you are not good enough. And once again, I say to you, I am proud of you. Now, let this room become a place you are no longer afraid to return to. Let it be the place where you can take off all the roles you have been wearing, where you do not have to be strong, do not have to be cheerful, do not have to prove anything. Let it be the place where you speak with me as a child speaks with their father. You can tell me about what brings you joy, what frightens you, what you are hoping for, and what you dare not say to anyone else. I do not grow tired of your stories. I am not bored when you repeat the same worry. I do not turn away when you come back after losing your way. My door is still open. My hand is still waiting. My love is still here. And while the world outside may continue to change, while others may come and go, while the things you hold on to may be lost, I remain the one who does not change. So, before you step into tomorrow, carry this word in your heart. You are not someone accidentally left behind in the middle of life. You are a soul known, called by name, loved, and guided. You are not merely your failures. You are not merely the things you do not yet have. You are not merely the fears that still cling to you. You are my child, whom I am teaching how to walk. You are a seed I am tending. You are a vessel I am reshaping. You are a lamp I will use to bring light to some place. On some day, in a way you cannot yet understand. Sleep in peace, my beloved child. Let your heart rest in this promise. I am still here. I still see you. I am still holding your hand. And no matter how deep the night becomes, my light will still find its way into your room. And as you allow your eyes to close in that gentleness, I want you to understand that my presence is not like thunder shaking the sky, nor does it always come through miracles that leave everyone astonished. There are times when I come like a soft breeze passing through the curtains, like the warm yellow light left in the corner of the room, like the distant sound of rain falling on the roof, like a sudden peace touching your heart at the very moment you do not understand why you are still able to breathe after all that has happened. You once thought I was only in great churches, in hymns rising among crowds, in the days when you knelt with a fervent heart, but I am also here, in this simple room, where there are books you have not finished reading, clothes you have not folded, bills still lying on the table, messages you have not yet had the courage to answer, and dreams you have hidden for a long time because you feared others would laugh at them. There is no place too small for me to enter. There is no corner of your heart too dark for me to bring light into it. For I do not love you because your room is tidy or because your life has been perfectly arranged. I love you right in the middle of the mess. I love you even when you do not yet know how to love yourself. Perhaps at this hour you are remembering an older version of yourself, someone who was once very strong, very carefree, someone who believed that if they only tried hard enough, every door would open. Perhaps you missed the days when you laughed more easily, slept more soundly, and trusted people more freely. And then life taught you that not everyone keeps their word, that not every effort is rewarded right away, that even the person you love may not understand what you have sacrificed. You grew up through scratches no one could see. You learned how to hide your tears, how to say that you were fine, how to keep walking even when there was no strength left inside. But my beloved child, I do not look at you with pity. I look at you with honor. Because every time you were hurt and did not become bitter, every time you were betrayed and still chose not to betray another, every time you were wounded and still preserved a part of your tenderness, I saw within you a very beautiful light. The world may think gentleness is weakness, but I tell you, a heart that still knows how to love after it has been hurt is a strong heart. Do not be ashamed that you can still be moved. Do not be ashamed that you still believe in goodness. That pure place within you is what will keep your soul from being swallowed by darkness. There will be moments when you feel you cannot believe anymore. You have prayed, but the answer seems to come too slowly. You have hoped, but what you waited for has not appeared. You look up at the sky and wonder whether I truly hear you, or whether your prayers simply dissolve into emptiness. But, my child, faith is not always a feeling of certainty. There are days when faith is simply the fact that you are still sitting here, still breathing, still not giving up completely. There are days when faith is when you say to me with a tired voice, I do not understand, but please, do not leave me. And I have never left. When Peter walked on the water, he was able to walk only because his eyes were fixed on the Lord. But when he looked at the wind and the waves, he began to sink. Even so, what is worth remembering is not that he sank, but that as soon as he cried out, the Lord's hand reached out and held him. You are the same. Perhaps you are sinking in anxiety, in disappointment, in things that are beyond your strength. But if you only reach out your hand, even if that hand is trembling, I will still take hold of you. I do not blame you for being afraid. I only want you not to remain silent and alone inside that fear. There are things in your life that cannot be repaired by effort alone. There are wounds that need time. There are relationships that cannot be saved if only one person keeps carrying the weight. There are doors that have closed not because you were not good enough, but because I knew that behind those doors there might be something that would cause you to lose yourself. You often feel pain when you have to let go, because you think letting go means failure. But sometimes, letting go is the way I save your soul from continuing to cling to something that no longer belongs to you. If a branch keeps holding on to a dry leaf forever, it cannot prepare for a new season of leaves. If a boat remains anchored at the old shore, it will never know how vast the sea can be. And your heart is the same. I know there are people you still cannot forget. There are places you still want to return to. There are promises you have kept for too long, even though the other person has no longer kept their promise to you. But, my beloved child, do not use your loyalty to imprison yourself in suffering. I do not call you into love so that you may be crushed. I call you into love so that you may live, grow, and be at peace. Little by little, you will understand that not everything lost is a lack. There are things that leave you in order to create space for another blessing to enter. There are painful goodbyes that saved you from a future that would have been even more exhausting. There are failures that forced you to return and learn a lesson that, if left unlearned, you would have carried for many years. There are seasons when I do not allow you to move quickly because I am teaching you how to walk steadily. You often ask me to open the way, but sometimes I lead you inward, so you can look again at what needs to be healed. You ask me to give you success, but I want to give you a heart peaceful enough not to be made arrogant by success. You ask me to take away all pain, but I want to use the pain that has been healed to make you more compassionate. All things work together for good for those who love God does not mean that everything that happens is good, but that I can transform even the things that once made you cry into part of the road that leads you toward maturity. Perhaps you have never thought that ordinary days can also be a prayer. But when you wake up early, pour a glass of water, open the window to welcome the sunlight, call to check on a loved one, do a small task well, and keep a promise to yourself, you are living a prayer that does not need to be spoken aloud. I do not hear you only when you speak beautiful words. I also see you in the simple things for which no one applauds. I see you when you pick up a piece of trash on the road, even though no one is watching. I see you when you yield in order not to wound someone whose heart is fragile. I see you when you try to work honestly, even though some people say that living kindly means being at a disadvantage. I see you when you do not take revenge, even though you have enough reasons to do so. These things may seem small in the eyes of the world, but in my eyes, they are seeds of light. Do not think your life has meaning only when you do something grand. A life filled with kindness, faithfulness, and quiet good deeds is already a beautiful song offered to me. But you must also learn to treat yourself with kindness. I see that it is easier for you to forgive others than to forgive yourself. You can understand the mistakes of others, yet you keep returning again and again to your own. You ask yourself why you did not say it differently, why you did not choose another path, why you did not realize it sooner. You return to the past like someone trying to find a door that no longer exists. But my beloved child, I have not called you to live forever in yesterday's room. I did not bring you through those years so that you would remain trapped there. I brought you through them so that you could learn what you needed to learn, then move forward with a lighter heart. Forgive the older version of yourself. That person did the best they could with what they knew at the time. That person was also afraid, lacking understanding, lonely, and trying to find a way out. Do not hate that person. Embrace that person with mercy. For without the version of you that once stumbled, you would not have the depth you carry today. And while you are learning to forgive yourself, I want you to remember that your body is not a machine meant to function without rest. You may have grown used to pushing yourself too hard, ignoring signs of weariness, and seeing exhaustion as proof that you are living responsibly. But I do not want you to become depleted in order to prove your worth. I want you to know how to stop. I want you to eat when you are hungry, rest when you are tired, walk when your heart feels heavy, drink water when your body is dry, and sleep when your eyes no longer have the strength to stay open. Sometimes the holiest thing you can do is rest. The Sabbath is not laziness, but a reminder that you do not have to carry the whole world on your shoulders. I still govern the sky while you sleep. I still cause the sun to rise when you are doing nothing at all. I still care for the things you cannot control. So you do not need to fear that if you stop for a little while, everything will collapse. I am still here. I am still holding the things you have placed into my hands. Perhaps what you need most right now is not a great answer, but a small sign that you have not been forgotten. So look at the little things around you. It may be someone sending a message to check on you at just the right time. It may be a song that suddenly plays and softens your heart. It may be a child laughing outside, a bird flying past the window, the smell of warm rice from the kitchen, a ray of sunlight falling across the floor. Do not consider these things meaningless. I often speak to you through very ordinary things, because sometimes your heart can only hear me when all the noise is quieted. I do not always send you signs as brilliant as fire from heaven. Sometimes I send a flower blooming by the roadside to remind you that life can still find its way through cracks in the stone. Sometimes I let a stranger smile at you to remind you that the world has not become completely cold. Sometimes I hold you back for a little while to spare you from something you do not yet know. The things you call delays may be protection. The things you call silence may be the moments when I am preparing something deeper. Remember Mary Magdalene when she stood weeping beside the empty tomb. She thought everything had ended. She thought the one she loved had been taken away. Her tears kept her from recognizing that the Lord was standing very near her. Only when he called her name did she realize that life had already been there for a long time. You have moments like that too. Pain keeps you from recognizing that I am very near. Tears make you think that all hope is lost. But I am still calling your name in the darkness. I call you through the comforting words of someone. I call you through the unexpected peace that comes during prayer. I call you through the stirring within you that urges you to stand up after many weary days. I call you through the small courage that makes you decide to begin again, something you once left unfinished. When I call your name, it is not to remind you of the past, but to lead you into new life. You are not only someone who has lost much, you are also someone who will be restored. And when tomorrow comes, the world may not become easier right away. The pressures may still remain. The responsibilities may still be waiting. The people who do not understand you may still not change. But you can change the way you step into the new day. You can walk out with a heart that knows it is not alone. You can face your work with calm instead of panic. You can speak a kind word instead of answering in anger. You can choose not to let someone else's disappointment become disappointment in yourself. You can move slowly, yet still move in the right direction. You may not see the whole road yet, but you only need to see the next step I place before your feet. The one who walks through the night does not need to see the whole mountain and forest. He only needs a lamp that gives enough light for the next step. I am that light. I do not promise that you will never meet storms, but I promise that you will not have to pass through the storm alone. So, my beloved child, when this room becomes quiet once more, do not be afraid of that silence. See it as soft ground where I sow new seeds into your heart. Let me remind you that you still have worth, still have a future, still have the ability to love and to be loved. Let me wipe away the tears you have hidden for far too long. Let me help you lay down the burdens you were never created to carry alone. You do not need to prove that you are worthy of love. You do not need to run very fast for me to see you. You do not need to become someone else for me to stay. I have chosen to be here, in your room, in the beautiful days, and in the days when you do not want anyone to see you. And wherever you are on this journey, whether you are beginning again, waiting, healing, or learning to trust one more time, I still look at you with the eyes of a merciful Father. I am proud of you. I have never left you. And when you feel as though no one is beside you, remember that I am still sitting very near, quietly holding your heart in my hands full of love. And while you are still sitting there, in the familiar room that tonight suddenly feels larger because of thoughts without names, I want you not to close your heart too quickly. There are doors you have kept shut for too long because you were afraid the cold wind would rush in, afraid old memories would return, afraid you would hope once more only to be disappointed again. But my beloved child, in the very place you thought was only a room of loneliness, I want to turn it into the beginning of renewal. You cannot see me with your eyes, but I have stood beside you since your very first sigh. I hear your heart tremble each time you wonder whether you are still worthy of being loved. I know there are questions you do not dare speak aloud, because you fear that if you say them, they will become more real. You are afraid you will remain like this forever. You are afraid beautiful things will only come to others. You are afraid your heart has grown so tired that it can no longer be moved by the dawn. But I say to you, do not be afraid. Not because you will no longer hurt, not because every trial will disappear like mist when the sun rises, but because I will not let you pass through any season alone. Even though you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, you will fear no evil, for the Lord is with you. You have read those words many times, but tonight, I want you to hear them as a word meant especially for you, for your reddened eyes, for your hands clutching the edge of the blanket, for your heart that is trying to keep beating, even though it has wanted to give up many times. There are people who think faith means always being strong, always being at peace, always holding one's head high as if one has never known tears. But I do not require you to wear a calm face to prove that you trust me. I do not need you to hide your weariness to please anyone. Even when you sit in the darkness, even when your prayer is only a sob, I still hear it. There are times when you do not know how to pray, because your heart is too full, too wounded, too confused. You only know how to look up at the ceiling, then fall silent. But that silence is also a prayer, because I understand the language of hearts that no longer have the strength to speak. I understand the things your tears are trying to say on your behalf. You do not need beautiful words in order to draw near to me. You only need to be yourself, with your fragility, with your truth, with even the things you still cannot forgive yourself for. Let me sit beside you in that truth. Let me touch the places you still keep hidden, not to shame you, but so that my light may enter. For wherever light touches, darkness can no longer rule as it once did. Perhaps today you tried very hard, and no one knew. You replied to messages while your heart was in turmoil. You went to work even though your body was exhausted. You smiled at everyone when all you wanted was to find a place to cry. You stayed calm in a conversation while, in truth, there was a storm inside you. You endured unfair words in order to protect peace in your family. You clenched your teeth and kept walking, even though no one stood by the road applauding you. But I saw it all. I saw even the small victories the world does not name. I saw the time you did not answer with anger. I saw the time you refused to do wrong, even though you needed money. I saw the time you chose forgiveness even while your heart was still hurting. I saw the time you came home after a long day and still asked about your loved ones with a gentle voice. Do you think those things are small? To me, they are seeds of light. One day, when you look back, you will understand that you were not standing still at all. You were growing in the days when no one saw. You became deeper through the times you were tested. You learned how to love not because life always treated you gently, but because I taught you that kindness is a strength no one can steal from you. So do not condemn yourself just because you have not yet reached the place you long for. There are journeys that cannot be measured by speed. There are roads that must be walked slowly so that the soul is not left behind. You once wanted everything to become clear immediately, your work to be stable, your finances to be sufficient, your love to be certain, your health to improve, your family to be peaceful, your dreams to take shape. But my beloved child, there are things I do not give you right away because I am teaching you how to hold them without dropping them. There are doors I have not opened yet, not because I have forgotten you, but because I know that behind those doors, you need a steadier heart. When a seed lies in the soil, it may think it has been buried, but in truth, it is being prepared to sprout. The days when you see nothing happening are not always useless days. Perhaps beneath the surface of your life, I am doing things deeper and quieter than you can imagine. I am building patience within you. I am teaching you to distinguish what is true from what is merely noise. I am removing burdens that do not belong to you. I am teaching you how to return to yourself, so that when the new season comes, you will no longer receive it with fear, but with open hands. Many times you have looked at other people's lives and felt small. You see them appearing successful, appearing loved, appearing to know where they are going. As for you, at times you feel like a traveler holding a small lamp in the night, not knowing how long the road ahead may be. But my child, do not let the brightness of others make you despise the lamp I have placed in your hand. Not everyone is called to walk the same path. Not everyone is given the same season of blooming. Some flowers bloom in the early morning, others open their petals only when night falls. Yet every flower makes the garden beautiful in its own way. You are the same. Perhaps you do not have the loudest voice. Perhaps you do not possess things that make others marvel. But I have placed within you a beauty that cannot be copied, the way you empathize, the way you listen, the way you persevere, the way you see another person's pain and do not turn away. Do not take your soul and compare it to the pictures others choose to display. I did not create you to become a copy of anyone. I created you to carry the image of my love into the world. Perhaps you once blamed yourself for trusting the wrong person. You opened your heart to someone, gave them your sincerity, and received coldness or betrayal in return. There are wounds that do not bleed, yet they hurt longer than you admit. You began to doubt goodness. You began to fear attachment. You told yourself it would be better not to love than to hurt again. But I want to hold your heart and tell you, do not let someone who did not know how to treasure you make you forget that you are still worthy of healthy love. Not everyone who leaves proves that you were not enough. Some people leave because they do not know how to stay. Some hands let go of you not because you are worthless, but because they were not mature enough to protect something precious. Do not take another person's lack and turn it into a sentence against yourself. I know you loved with your whole heart. I know you hoped. I know you tried. And even if that story did not reach the place you had wished for, the sincere love you gave was not meaningless. It taught you that your heart still knows how to feel, still has the ability to give, and still has the capacity to be healed. Then one day, when you look back, you will see that the things that once hurt you did not completely destroy you. They made you deeper. They taught you to value a sincere word. They made you able to listen to another person's sigh. They turned you into someone who is no longer quick to judge, because you understand that everyone is carrying a battle outsiders cannot see. That is how I can turn ashes into beauty, sorrow into mercy, and years that seemed lost into material through which you can comfort others. As Joseph said to his brothers, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good." You do not need to call evil good. You do not need to pretend that the things that hurt you are something to be thankful for. But you can believe that I still have the power to continue writing your story. The earlier pages may be full of tears, but I have not yet written the final line. And as long as I still hold the pen, your story can still move toward the light. In this room, you may be keeping very small things that no one knows about. An old photograph, a faded gift, a notebook filled with the words you once wrote during your most painful days, a song that makes your heart ache as soon as it begins to play. I do not want to force you to throw everything away just to prove that you are strong. There are memories that need to be laid down, not with coldness, but with gratitude. You can say to the past, I know you were once a part of my life. I know there were beautiful things that once existed, but I cannot stay here forever. Then step forward, not because you have forgotten, but because you choose to live. I do not want you to turn your room into a place that stores what has died. I want that room to become a place where you can breathe, pray, rest, and dream again. Open the window when you can. Let the light come in. Change the old bedsheet. Clear one small corner for peace. Those actions, though they may seem simple, can become a declaration to your soul. I still believe tomorrow can be different. Do not underestimate the times you choose to care for yourself. When you drink a glass of water instead of letting your body remain exhausted. I see it. When you step outside to breathe, look at the blue sky and let the wind touch your face. I see it. When you decide to sleep earlier instead of continuing to sink into thoughts that wound you. I see it. When you clean your room, throw away the things that make your heart heavy, and arrange your desk again. I see it. These are not merely ordinary tasks. They are the way you tell yourself that you are still worthy of care. I created your body as a sacred place. Do not treat it as an enemy just because it has grown tired, weak, or different from what you imagined. Learn to thank your feet for carrying you through so many long days. Thank your hands for working, for holding the hands of others, for wiping away tears. Thank your heart for continuing to beat, even though so many times it seemed unable to bear anymore. You do not need to be perfect to be loved. You are loved in this very body that is living, breathing, and trying. And as the night grows deeper, I want you to remember that there is no darkness so deep that my light cannot enter. Perhaps right now, you do not yet feel peace. Perhaps your mind is still spinning with unresolved things. Perhaps the words I speak have not immediately erased the pain in your heart. But faith is not always a feeling. Sometimes faith is the act of remaining, still breathing, still believing a little more, even when you see no sign. It is when you say, "Father, I do not understand yet, but I do not want to leave your hand, and I will not let go of your hand." Just as the father in the story of the prodigal son ran out to meet his child from far away, I also do not stand waiting for you to fix everything before I come near. I run toward you the moment your heart turns back. I do not ask how far you wandered before I embrace you. I do not make you explain every mistake before allowing you to rest. I only want you to come home. Come home to the truth that you are my child. Come home to the house of mercy. Come home to the gentle voice that life may have made you forget. There is one thing I want you to hold carefully in your heart. You are not a burden. You do not weary me because of the times you are weak. You do not disappoint me because of the days when you do not know what to do. You are not forgotten by me just because you do not have great achievements. You are a joy in my heart. You are my creation. And I know every strand of your hair, every fear, every dream you have not spoken aloud. When you think no one remembers your birthday, I still remember. When you feel no one listens to your words, I still listen. When you go through a day and no one asks whether you are okay, I still ask you in the deep tenderness of my heart. Hear me say it once more. I am proud of you. Not because you have never fallen. I am proud because you are still learning to stand again. Not because you have never doubted. I am proud because, in the midst of doubt, you still seek me. Not because you have done everything right. I am proud because you still want to become a better person than you were yesterday, tomorrow. When you wait, the world may not change right away. Responsibilities will still be waiting. Calls will still need to be answered. The things you worry about may not have completely disappeared, but carry these words with you like a small flame in your heart. I go with you. When you step out the door, I go with you. When you sit before the screen to work, I go with you. When you stand before a difficult decision, I go with you. When you feel small before things that seem too great, I go with you. And when you return to this room at the end of the day, more tired, quieter, perhaps with no one knowing what you have gone through, I will still be here. I will still sit beside you. I will still call you with love. I will still remind you that your life is not over, that the tears you shed are not useless, and that you still have a place in my heart. Therefore, let tonight become a night when you no longer have to fight alone. Lay your burdens down at my feet, one by one. Lay down your fear about money. Lay down the weariness in your work. Lay down the wounds in your family. Lay down the loneliness you always hide. Lay down even the mistakes that make you afraid to look at yourself. I do not promise that you will never meet storms again, but I promise that I will be your refuge. I do not promise that every road will be easy to walk, but I promise that you will not have to walk in darkness alone. And when one day you look back at this room, when you look back at tonight, perhaps you will understand that this was not only the moment when you were weak. This was the moment when I came closest. This was the moment when I reminded you that you are loved. This was the moment when I planted a seed of hope in your heart. Sleep in peace. My beloved child, let your heart rest. I am still here. I am always here. And I have never stopped being proud of you. In this room, where you thought there was only you and the darkness, I am reminding you of the small things you have forgotten to be thankful for. Perhaps it is the bed that is supporting your weary body. Perhaps it is a glass of water still on the table. Perhaps it is the sound of vehicles far away on the street, the rain falling on the roof, the steady breathing of someone in this house, or an old photograph that helps you realize you were once loved more than you have thought. I am not telling you to deny your sadness in order to appear grateful. I only want you to understand that even while you are sad, you can still find a small ray of light, not to erase the darkness, but to help you remember that darkness has never been the only thing present. A small lamp does not need to drive away the whole night sky. It only needs to be enough for you to see the next step. And sometimes, that is all I want you to have in this moment, not a map of your entire life. Not an answer to every worry, but only enough light for the next step. Do not demand that I show you the whole road when what I am doing is teaching you to trust my hand with every step you take. Then when morning comes, I hope you will step out of this room with a heart that is just a little different, not a heart that is no longer afraid, but a heart that knows it is not alone in its fear, not a heart that has solved every problem, but a heart that knows it is loved even while the problems remain. Open the curtains and let the light come in. Look at the sky, even if it is cloudy. Wash your face gently. Eat a proper meal. Send a message to someone you trust. Do one small thing you have been postponing. Do not look down on those little actions. Sometimes healing does not begin with a great event, but with your decision to care for yourself a little more. Perhaps you cannot change the whole world tomorrow, but you can change the way you step into tomorrow. You may not be able to control everything that happens, but you can choose to keep your heart from being swallowed by the chaos outside. I have placed within you a source of strength that does not come from the applause of people, but from my unchanging love. I am still in your room. I am in the tear that has just dried on your cheek. I am in the heartbeat that is slowly becoming calm again. I am in the silence after the storms of your mind. I am in the tomorrow you have not yet seen, in the good things quietly drawing near, in the doors that will open at the right time, in the people who will enter your life with the kindness you deserve to receive. But above all these things, I am right here, right now, not far away, not cold, not waiting for you to become better before I love you. Rest now, my beloved child. Let your soul lie still in my care. Tomorrow, I will hold your hand again. And when you step out of this room, even if you cannot yet see the whole road ahead, you can still walk forward, because my love will go with you, lighter than the burden, nearer than the fear, and more enduring than anything in this world that can change.